Cockroaches sent by humans to Mars 400 years ago have evolved into something unexpected. Now, if humans are to live on Mars, the cockroaches have to be eliminated. The year is 2597, and the human population is growing beyond what Earth is capable of sustaining. Scientists that saw this coming came up with a plan 400 years ago to make Mars habitable for humans. To do this, they began by growing simple organisms, like moss, on the surface of the red planet. The moss would warm up the environment and create an atmosphere in which humans can survive. To spread the moss all over the planet, scientists sent genetically engineered cockroaches to Mars. In the present, a man named Shokichi and a woman named Nanao are running from police after being accused of murder. After a brief chase, the police have the two of them cornered, but just then, a man named Dr. Honda arrives in a levitating vehicle to pick them up. Dr. Honda offers Shokichi and Nanao a chance to erase their criminal records. All they have to do is join a mission to Mars where they have to go to the Red Planet and eradicate the cockroach population there in order to make it habitable for human beings. They will also have to go through a minor medical operation to become equipped for the mission. Shokichi doesn't trust Dr. Honda and senses something fishy about the deal. He refuses the offer. However, Nanao realizes that they pretty much have no choice, and this is a chance to win their life back. She accepts. Shokichi cannot let Nanao go on the mission by herself, so he signs on as well. 2 years later, both of them have undergone training and are aboard a ship going to Mars. Nanao notices that pretty much everyone on the ship is a thug, a criminal or some sort of societal reject, who has been offered a clean sheet to participate in this mission. Their crewmates on the mission include Jim, Ikiro, a former terrorist named Lee, a serial killer named Tezuka, Sorai, the owner of a prostitution ring, Maria, an illegal immigrant, former members of the Yakuza Yoshikane and Toramaru, Moriki, Captain Dojima, and Obari. The crew arrives on the surface of Mars in a ship named Bugs 2. They land and send out missiles that will kill the cockroaches in the vicinity of their ship. Captain Dojima divides the entire crew into pairs for the mission. Surprisingly, Moriki refuses her partnership with Yoshikane and requests to be partnered with Ikiro instead. After they all step out, Captain Dojima locates the ship Bugs 1 from a previous mission. Outside, Jim and Maria are exploring the region, and Jim is curious as to why there are no cockroach carcasses lying around. Just then, Jim spots some giant humanoid cockroach-looking creatures that are carrying clubs with them. He grabs Maria and hides. On the other hand, Shokichi and Nanao spot one of these creatures as well. They try to be friendly with the creature, but it moves at an incredibly fast speed and snaps Nanao's neck, killing her. Devastated, Shokichi yells at the creature, but it simply runs away. Shokichi arrives back in the ship with Nanao's body and finds out from Ichiro that Moriki has also been killed by the creatures. The entire crew demands Captain Dojima to tell the truth about these creatures. He reveals that the cockroaches that were sent to Mars 400 years ago turned out to be much more tough than the scientists expected. They evolved rapidly under the direct radiation of the sun and in the freezing temperatures. They completed millions of years of evolution in just 400 years and turned into these creatures. They are called terraformers. Just then, a hologram of Dr. Honda appears. He explains to the crew that in order to fight the evolved cockroaches, they have all been equipped with special powers. During their medical operations, their DNAs were mixed with DNAs of specific insects in order to give them the powers of those insects on a human scale. The powers can be activated with an injection. Dojima apologizes to Shokichi for not telling him the truth before. He was ordered not to. Sorai says that they should just abandon the mission and head back to Earth. Just then, a terraformer starts approaching the ship. Lee says they should defeat the cockroaches here and then go back to Earth and use their powers to overthrow the government that has lied to them. He steps out to fight the terraformer. Lee uses the injection on himself, and his insect powers activate. His DNA has been mixed with a ground beetle's. The ground beetle sprays a lethal venom, but on human scale, that spray equals a flamethrower. Lee attacks the terraformer with the spray, and for a minute, it looks like he is going to win. But the terraformer recovers from the burns and punches through Lee's torso, killing him. The terraformer enters the ship and the entire crew loads injections, but Captain Dojima says he will show them how to fight the terraformers first. He injects himself, and his DNA has been mixed with that of a bullet ant. He defeats the terraformer with a single blow. Just then, thousands of terraformers arrive. Sorae wonders out loud why they are attacking them. Maria replies that humans kill cockroaches for no reason all the time. The terraformers are probably doing it for the same reason. Obari tries to launch the ship so they can go home, but for some reason, the operating system of the ship won't work. Captain Dojima instructs the crew to go toward the Bugs one ship, which has the same operating system, and use it to get off the planet. Meanwhile, he will act as decoy and divert the attention of the terraformers. Shokichi, Jim, and Ikiro all volunteer to stay behind with him, but he only allows Ikiro. Shokichi goes to visit Nanao's body before they leave, and he notices webbing coming out of it. As the rest of the crew gets on an escape vehicle, Tezuka injects himself and mutates into a fire-breathing insect. He serves as a rocket for the vehicle, and it moves at incredible speed, blasting through the crowds of terraformers. Meanwhile, Captain Dojima and Ikiro execute a plan to lure the terraformers inside the ship, and then expel all the oxygen out so they can't breathe and die. Unfortunately, this will kill Dojima and Ichiro as well. On the escape vehicle, Jim tells Shokichi that he knows Shokichi is not an actual criminal, and he just took the blame for Nanao's crime. Shokichi found Nanao being harassed by a man, and when Shokichi tried to protect Nanao, the man attacked him. Amidst the chaos, Nanao stabbed the man, but Shokichi took the blame for the murder. Shokichi asks Jim why he is on Mars, and Jim replies he's just a nobody. He only ever had one friend in his life, and she died in a pandemic. Now he has nothing and no one back on Earth. He says he'll support Shokichi in getting Nanao's revenge, and then giving her a proper burial. Just then, they notice a wave coming their way, but they realize that the wave is made from thousands of terraformers. Thanks to Tezuka blowing fire out the other end of the vehicle, they manage to blast through the wave, but next they see a second, much bigger wave headed their way. To deal with this wave, Sorae and Maria inject themselves. Their DNAs have been mixed with two different kinds of beetles, and they mutate to develop incredibly thick armor. Thanks to their thick armors, the vehicle survives the second wave as well, but it topples on the way out, and Tezuka, Sorae, and Maria are thrown off. Inside the vehicle, everyone is knocked out, but it goes on autopilot and keeps moving. Sorae, Maria, and Tezuka are killed by the terraformers. Back on Bugs 2, Dojima and Ichiro carry out the oxygen expulsion plan, and all the terraformers inside, along with the two crew members, die. Shokichi, Jim, and Obari enter the Bugs 1 ship and notice that it is transmitting a signal. Outside, Yoshikane and Toramaru get shot by some terraformers. Meanwhile, a terraformer calls and speaks to Dr. Honda, who tells the terraformer to carry out their secret plan. On the other hand, Shokichi, Jim, and Obari inject themselves to fight off the terraformers. Shokichi's DNA has been mixed with that of an Asian giant hornet, Jim's with that of a desert locust, and Obari's with that of a praying mantis. After they are done killing all the terraformers, they notice pyramids behind the ship and wonder how such structures exist on Mars. Back on Bugs 2, the talking terraformer gets on board and restores the oxygen. It's about to shoot Captain Dojima when Dojima demands to know its identity. It is actually Morokai in a terraformer skin. Ichiro lied about her death at the start of the mission. Moroki's DNA was mixed with that of an emerald cockroach wasp, an insect that secretes a toxin that can control a cockroach's brain. Hence, Moroki can control the terraformers. She kills Captain Dojima and proceeds to spray some water on Ikiro. Ikiro's DNA was mixed with that of a sleeping chironomid, a special insect that won't die even in a vacuum. It will simply enter a hibernation state, and to wake it up, you just need some water. Hence, Ikiro wakes up when Morokai throws some water on him. They place a giant terraformer egg aboard the ship and prepare to leave for Earth. Dr. Honda explains to Shokichi, Jim, and Obari that it was always the plan for only Ikiro and Moroki to return to Earth with a terraformer egg, because they wish to study the creatures back on Earth and create an army of them for Japan. The rest of them were sent to determine the combat ability of the terraformers. It was Ikaro that prevented the operating system of Bugs 2 from launching earlier. Obari asks about the pyramids on Mars, and Dr. Honda simply answers that humans didn't really send the cockroaches to Mars. They evolved there of their own accord, which is also the reason why studying them and their evolution is so crucial. Morokai and Ikaro take off in Bugs 2, and as they do, they share their stories and motivations with one another. Ikaro was a struggling researcher back on Earth, trying to score a grant so he can help pay for his many sick siblings and sick mother. However, he was falsely framed of rape by a fellow employee and forced to leave his university. Meanwhile, Morokai has the simple plan of going back to Earth and controlling the army of terraformers that Japan creates so that she can dominate the world. Just then, the terraformer egg hatches, and 2 terraformers come out. Moriki injects them with her toxin, but it appears they have already evolved to resist the toxin. They kill Moriki. The 2 terraformers call out to the others on the ground, and they all start flying towards the ship. The collective weight of all the terraformers brings the ship down. Ikaro injects himself to survive, but gets knocked out. Shokichi, Jim, and Obari head toward Bugs 2 to go back to Earth, but their path is blocked by hundreds of terraformers. All 3 of them inject themselves, and a fight ensues. At first, they fight valiantly and kills loads of terraformers, but then a couple of newborns arrive that have evolved to develop excellent fighting skills. The newborns kill Obari, and Jim realizes one injection won't cut it. He injects himself a second time to mutate further. Shokichi does the same. The fighting continues, and when the second mutation proves futile as well, Jim injects himself several times, but that proves to be to his detriment, as he starts getting sick. In a sick state, he tells Shokichi that he has nothing to go back to on Earth, and his only will to live was that he grew to like Shokichi and Obari. While defending an incapacitated Jim, Shokichi is almost killed by a terraformer, but just then a mutated Nanao arrives. She is covered in webs and dropping some kind of powder all over the terraformers. Jim says the powder is flammable, and a single spark will cause it to explode. He tells Shokichi to run away, but he sprouts wings and flies toward Nanao. A terraformer fires a gun which causes the explosion. Right as Shokichi is near Nanao, Jim flies in to save him from the blast, while Nanao is engulfed in it. As the dust from the blast settles, Shokichi wakes up to find that Jim has completely transformed into a locust, a result of too many injections. He is dying. With his last breath, he tells Shokichi to go back to Earth and live, because that's what Nanao would have wanted. Shokichi is heading toward the ship when a terraformer tries to attack him. Fueled by rage, Shokichi beats the terraformer up without even mutating. Inside the ship, Shokichi confronts Ikaro for betraying them all, but they agree to settle their score after reaching Earth. As they are taking off, some of the terraformers prepare to fly and stop them, but the one Shokichi beat up holds the rest back, out of fear. Dr. Honda learns that the video feed from the Bugs 2 mission has been leaked to the world, and everyone is going to know of their inhuman crimes against the crew. He decides it's time to go into hiding because he knows the Japanese government will try to blame this on him. His assistant tries to stop him, but he kills her and escapes. Ikaro says when he gets to Earth, he will take on the Japanese government and make them pay for exploiting all of them for this mission. Shokichi says he will first build Nanao a tomb, and then come back to Mars to finish the terraformers for good. The end. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like our channel and subscribe if you enjoy content like this. Also, let us know what movie you would love us to recap for you.